Well, hello, welcome. Hope you're all doing well. Lovely to have you with me again. You're looking at my peas on the table, the ones that we grew in the front garden, the ones I've kept for seed. And I've just been shelling them because I allowed them to dry completely on the vines, on the plants. And I cleared them out the front garden last week, and I left them indoors to dry a little bit further, so they're paper dry and they're really easy to shell. So that's peas for next year, even though I'm not really 100% keen on this variety. It's a climbing pea and it's called Champion of England. It grew really nicely and it was very resilient. But even catching the pods when they're just right, I found the peas were a little bit starchy. So I don't know if I did something wrong or not, but I mean, they're peas, they're all right, you know, but they're not exactly the lovely, juicy ones that pop in your mouth if you only just cook them. Because I think people overcook peas, they cook them way too long. I only cook them. Well, I don't actually cook them. I stick them in boiling water and leave them for 3 or 4 minutes just till they're heated through. And then they're hot, but they pop in your mouth and they're still sweet. And they don't taste starchy at all if you have the right varieties. And you cook them just right, and actually don't cook them, just heat them. So that's it. I put them in boiling water and switch it off immediately. And just leave them to stand for about 3 or 4 minutes. And then they're still lovely and fresh and full of goodness still. Not overcooked. Most people overcook their veggies. Anyway, I'm waffling. That's not what I wanted to talk to you about today. Number one, I'm doing this one-handed because the other hand is holding the camera. And that is because I seem to have lost my camera tripod. Yep, I seem to have lost it. So I'm holding the camera. So back to basics again, I'm afraid, until I can afford to get another tripod. And oh, you know, this is quite addictive. And it's quite sad to get to the end of the pile. But yeah, so actually this being the 4th week of the month, as we know, I usually talk about something to do with the self-reliance stuff. Now, I think, if I can remember correctly, and I haven't checked my videos, I think I've already done something about the difference between self-reliance and self-sufficiency, that there is a difference, and that here in our home, we're not aiming for self-sufficiency because it's impossible for us, and always will be, to be completely self-sufficient. And I don't want to be completely self-sufficient because I don't want to exclude helping anybody else, getting help from anybody else if I need it, or being able to source things from elsewhere, because it would take more than 18 hours a day, 6 days a week at least, to provide everything you need. And even then you have to have a huge amount of land and a huge variety of everything to provide everything for yourself, because that's essentially what self-sufficiency means: producing everything you need for yourself without help from outside or buying anything in. If you're a couple on your own, that's impossible because you need quite a lot of people to help with that. So no, that's not the aim for us. For us, self-reliance is the aim. And it includes a whole range of things. My battery's about to die, so I'm going to try and do this quickly. So forgive me if I'm rushing through things. I've discussed with you already before about the different kinds of self-reliance, the different aspects of it. I've spoken to you about, you know, the self-reliance bit of trying to learn to grow for ourselves and using our garden the best we can to grow as much as we can of our own food. Also the crafts, and trying to be a little bit more financially self-reliant and keeping ourselves busy, as well as yeah, what was it about the other day? It wasn't self-reliance, it was the make do and mend stuff, so that kind of thing. So doing for ourselves what we can do, not spending money where we don't have to, and trying to be frugal in all that we do. And also that includes our environmental efforts as well. But I think recently the most important part of self-reliance for me has been including the emotional, the spiritual self-reliance, and the mental health part of self-reliance, that I take responsibility for my own mental health and my spiritual well-being, that I do all I could possibly do to try and look after myself mentally, because that's half the battle of anything that we do. So I've been trying to look after myself more than I've been working on some studies for, self-reliance in mental well-being and physical well-being, and looking at all that. So that's something I've been thinking about as well a lot lately. But I just wanted to share that with you, and hope that you understand that for self-reliance for us includes a whole lot of different things, and that's why I sometimes seem to be flitting between so many different things, but it's generally four different things. Oh yes, before I forget, I'm going to put a little clip in now as well. The outdoor oven, we did a test fire today, the first proper one, and it went okay. We got it up to temperatures, got its thermometer in, we put the chimney on properly, and we did a test fire, and we got it up to 250 degrees C. So a few little things have happened that have come about. We thought, right, okay, we need to fix those, so we're going to do that. And I'm just going to put the clip in now, quick. As promised, I said I would show you a bit more about the oven. The outdoor oven is still not quite finished, but finished enough to have its first proper test fire, which we had today. As you could tell, there's a bit of soot on the front there. The thermometer is in and working, because this is now, how can I say, it was about almost 40 minutes since we stopped feeding the fire. And the heat is still there. It's only just come down to 175 now. So it's holding the heat for quite a while. We got it up to 250. Opened the door a little on the side to get it back down to 240, because we never want it any really hotter than 240 degrees centigrade, that is, or Celsius, whatever you want to call it. We don't want it higher than 240. And it held that for 20 minutes and then slightly fell down to about 190. So then I suppose we ought to feed it just a little bit, just to bring up the temperature. And that's how we regulate it, just by opening the door slightly on the edge, just to let a little bit of heat out. Okay, we have a couple of tiny little feather line cracks on the side there. There's one tiny one there, hardly much, and only just a bit there. We've got the chimney up, tidying up still to do. It works well enough. Does the job. It pulls the smoke out from the firebox at the bottom. That needs a better door. We have found one or two little leaks, so I'll plug them up with fire clay, and hopefully that will sort that out. I'll smear fire clay into the little cracks. So it hasn't opened much at all, but it is somewhere for the heat to escape, so we will plug them up with fire clay, tidy it all up, and then paint everything with some fire resistant paint, some barbecue paint. So unfortunately it's going to be black, because that's just what we need to do for the fire resistant paint, and they only do it in black. Yeah, unfortunately. We've only ever found barbecue paint in black, but that's fine. So there we go, and I will show you again when it's completely finished and up and running, and next time you see it, there will be something cooking in the oven. So back to that is the one project I'd like to get finished, and by the end of today, when we got that done, I really and truly was fed up with projects, and I'd be quite happy not to do any more. But I know that we have at least three more projects that we really need to get done before we're done putting everything in order as far as those things go. But I really don't want any more projects. I'm getting tired of projects now, and I just want to get on with it. It seems like we're perpetually putting things in place for years and years and years and never actually getting to do anything of what we really want to do when that's all done. So it's just some aspects of self-reliance require a bit more effort when you don't have any money. Because as we're getting older, I'm thinking I would very happily, if I could afford it, pay somebody else to build something for me, because we just physically can't do it anymore. But we still have to do that. We're still in a situation where if we want something, we have to do it ourselves, because we just can't afford to pay anybody else. And it just means that we have to take longer to do it and find other ways of doing it. So I think we're getting to a stage where we're going to have to realize that, yeah, the self-reliance and do it yourself and make do and mend stuff is all fine and well and great, but there will come times where we will have to, if we really, really want something, and if it's something we can't go without but can't actually do it anymore, we're going to have to make sure that we're financially in a situation to pay somebody else to do it, or just not do it at all. So that's one of our self-reliance realizations as well, that there's going to come a stage where we can't do this anymore, and we're going to have to try something else or different. That's why we're rushing to get things done now. But that oven, I don't think is going to last us more than 4 years. And it's cost about, in the end, about £300. But by the time we bought the steel for the chimney and all the render, the insulation and everything like that, and the blocks. So not one I would do again, but we've made it. I will finish it off and I'll show you what it's done when it's finished, and we continue with the experiments and the make do and mend as best we can, and we invite you to come along with us. My battery is definitely going to die now, but in the meantime, if you feel you would like to do so, please do like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. My grandson will tell me off if I don't say that. And do feel free to share and comment as well. Until next time, have a lovely day or evening, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Good night.